The mysterious Book of Enoch is an ancient text that contains various revelations and visions that Enoch received from God and the angels concerning the history and destiny of the world, the fallen angels, the Messiah, the final judgment, and the secrets of creation. What are these mysteries, and why do they matter to believers in our modern world? In today's video, we will be exploring the lost Book of Enoch and all that they represent. Keep watching. The Book of Enoch was highly regarded by some early Jewish and Christian writers, such as the authors of Jude and 2 Peter in the New Testament, who quoted from it or alluded to it. However, the book was later rejected by most Jews and Christians as non-canonical or apocryphal, meaning that it was not inspired by God or part of the official scriptures. The book was also lost for many centuries until fragments of it were discovered among the Dead Sea Scrolls in the 20th century. The complete text was preserved only in an Ethiopian translation, first translated into English in the 19th century. 3 volumes of the book are traditionally attributed to Enoch, including 2 Enoch and 3 Enoch, which are distinct compositions. According to the preponderance of Jewish and Christian church bodies, none of the 3 texts is considered canonical scripture. The earliest sections of 1 Enoch, primarily in the Book of the Watchers, date to approximately 300-200 BC. The most recent section, Book of Parables, likely dates to 100 BC. Jude 1:14-15 references Enoch, the 7th from Adam, and Enoch, the 7th from Adam, also prophesied of these, saying, "Behold, the Lord is coming with 10,000s of his saints, to execute judgment upon all, and to convict all the ungodly among them of all their ungodly deeds that they have ungodly committed, and of all their harsh words that ungodly sinners have spoken against him." This verse depicts the torture that awaits those who have not received the promise of the Divine Father. Compare this with Enoch 1:19, translated from the Ethiopic, also found in the Qumran papyrus. The Book of Enoch is divided into 5 distinct main sections. The first section of the Book of Enoch describes the decline of the Watchers, the angels who sired the Nephilim, angel-human hybrids. The remainder of the book details Enoch's revelations and his journeys to paradise through travels, visions, and dreams. The Book of Watchers. This section of the Book of Enoch details the collapse of the Watchers, the angels who fathered the Nephilim, cf. the Beni Elohim, Genesis 6:1-4, and Enoch's travels through the realms. Western academics say this section was written between the 4th and 3rd centuries BCE. It discusses God's visit to earth on Mount Sinai with his retinue to judge humanity. It also describes how the luminaries rise and set in order and in their own time, without changing. The book's first section describes the interaction between fallen angels and humans. Semi-Azaz commands the other 200 fallen angels to take human spouses to bear us children. This leads to the appearance of the Nephilim, Genesis, or Anakim Anak, giants, as described in the book. And they became expectant, and they bore enormous monsters 300 ells tall, who devoured all the wealth of humanity. And when humanity could no longer support them, the giants turned on humanity and devoured them, and they began to transgress against birds, animals, reptiles, and fish, devouring one another's flesh and drinking another's blood. It discusses the instruction of humans by corrupted angels, in particular Azazel. And Azazel taught men how to make swords, knives, shields, and breastplates, as well as the metals of the earth and the art of working them, and bracelets and ornaments, and the use of antimony, and the adornment of the eyelids, and all types of precious stones, and all coloring tinctures. And there arose a great deal of godlessness. They engaged in immorality. They were led astray, and they became corrupt in all their ways. Semjaza taught enchantments and root cuttings. Armaros taught enchantment resolution. Barakijal taught astrology. Kokabel the constellations. Ezekiel the knowledge of clouds. Arakiel the signs of the earth. Shamsiel the signs of the sun. And Sariel the course of the moon. Archangels, Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel are also depicted pleading with God to adjudicate the inhabitants of the universe and the sinful angels. God then sends Uriel to inform Noah of the impending catastrophe and what he must do. God commands Raphael to incarcerate Azazel and instructs Gabriel regarding the Nephilim and the imprisonment of fallen angels. The Book of Parables. The Book of Enoch, chapters 37-71, is called the Book of Parables. These chapters are at the crux of the scholarly debate. The Book of Parables appears to be founded on the Book of the Watchers. Still, it presents a later development of the concept of final judgment and eschatology, which is concerned not only with the fate of corrupted angels, but also with the fate of evil rulers of the earth. Son of Man is the eschatological protagonist in the Book of Parables, who is also referred to as Righteous One, Chosen One, and Messiah, and who rests on the throne of grandeur during the final judgment. The Astronomical Book. 4 fragmentary editions of the Astronomical Book, 4Q 208-211, were discovered at Qumran. The 2nd century BC beginning date for 4Q 208 and 4Q 209 provides a terminus antiquem for the Astronomical Book of the 3rd century BC. The Qumran fragments also contain material absent from the later editions of the Book of Enoch. The Dream Visions. The Book of Dream Visions, which contains a vision of Israel's history down to what the majority interprets as the Maccabean Revolt, is generally dated to the Maccabean period, approximately 163-142 BC. The Letter of Enoch. Some scholars propose a date between 170 BC and the 1st century BC to determine when these books were written. This book contains apocalypse of weeks, exhortation, and additional subheadings. Some fallen angels listed in 1 Enoch have alternative names such as Ramiel, Morning of God, who becomes Azazel and is also referred to as Gadriel, Wall of God, in chapter 68. In chapter 68, Arachiel, Earth of God, is transformed into Aratstikapha, World of Aberration. Azaz, as in Azazel, signifies strength, so the name Azazel can also signify God's strength, but the usage most likely means impudent, expressing fortitude towards, which results in arrogant towards God. It is also a central tenet of contemporary thought that Azazel is Satan. Essential to this identification is the similarity in meaning between the original name Ramiel and the common Latin name for Satan in Christianity, Lucifer, morning star. Here comes one of the questions that many have pondered about this creepy book. Was the Book of Enoch ever included in the scripture? The status of the Book of Enoch in the Christian Bible is a subject of continuous debate among scholars and theologians. Some argue that there was a time when the book was included in the Bible, citing references from early Christian writers in the 2nd and 3rd centuries. Others firmly assert that it was never part of the biblical canon, pointing to theological and doctrinal concerns. One of the primary arguments favoring the Book of Enoch's inclusion in the Bible is the presence of early Christian references. Tertullian, a Christian author from the 2nd century, made several references to Enoch in his works, suggesting the book's significance in early Christian thought. Origen, a prominent Christian theologian and biblical scholar of the 3rd century, also cited the Book of Enoch. Their references indicate that the book was not only known, but also had some influence within the early Christian community during the 2nd and 3rd century. The Book of Enoch contains themes of apocalypse and angelology, which influenced early Christian theology. Richard Lawrence, an English archbishop and scholar of the 19th century, was instrumental in translating the Book of Enoch into English. His work further highlighted the book's significance. Proponents of inclusion argue that the book's intriguing content and its impact on early Christian thought, as observed in the 19th century, make a strong case for its potential inclusion in the Bible. However, a fundamental objection to the Book of Enoch's inclusion in the Bible is its lack of apostolic authorship. Early Christian leaders, including influential figures like Saint Jerome, 4th century, the translator of the Latin Vulgate Bible, emphasized the importance of apostolic authorship for inclusion in the canon. Jerome dismissed the Book of Enoch, stating it was rejected by all the Jews. The traditional authorship of the book attributed it to Enoch, a figure who lived long before the time of Christ, raising doubts about its apostolic connection in the 4th century. A second ground for the book's dismissal from canonical scriptures is its doctrinal incompatibility. The Book of Enoch introduces theological concepts inconsistent with mainstream Christian beliefs. Notably, the book describes fallen angels who cohabited with humans, resulting in the birth of hybrid offspring, contrary to Orthodox Christian teachings on angels and the origin of evil. This doctrinal incompatibility was a significant factor in the book's exclusion from the canonical Bible, as observed in the 4th century. The debate regarding including or excluding the Book of Enoch from the Christian Bible is characterized by various historical perspectives and viewpoints from different centuries. While the book was known to early Christians and influenced their thought during the 2nd and 3rd centuries, it ultimately did not find a place in the biblical canon, recognized by most Christian denominations. But like Middle Ages Christians, many Christians today do not know why this ancient Bible book is ignored and even forbidden by the Church, even though it contains so much mysterious information about God and the heavenly bodies. Perhaps the book has too much to believe. It has already become apparent that one of the reasons for the book's banning is because it begins with a warning to humanity, describing the divine judgment that will befall those who are not worthy of salvation. The story explains the appearance of the murderous giants, also known as Nephilim, who roamed the earth as described in Genesis. They also explain the flood. God nevertheless warned Noah and delivered the people. The accounts of Enoch's travels through the heavenly kingdoms, which describe the heavenly powers and the cruelty that awaits the wicked, are also apt to be detested. The book speaks directly and candidly about aliens with advanced technology who visited Earth. They passed on their technology to their hybrid offspring, which had a devastating effect on humanity. The book describes in detail how and why the Great Deluge destroyed all traces of this. Undoubtedly, there is something in this book that troubles many individuals. How did Enoch ascend and descend on his excursions to and from heaven? Is this not evidence of ancient aliens visiting Earth? Can we then presume that these were extraterrestrials and that Enoch communicated with a sovereign? The exclusion of the Book of Enoch from the Christian Bible was not a decision made by a single individual or a specific event, but rather a process that took place over several centuries. However, the decisive moments in this process can be attributed to influential figures in church council. The Book of Enoch was gradually marginalized and excluded from the biblical canon, primarily during the 4th century. But who were those behind this? 1. Saint Jerome, c. 347, 420 CE. Saint Jerome was a prominent Christian theologian and biblical scholar most known for his work on the Latin Vulgate Bible. He expressed reservations about the Book of Enoch and deemed it non-canonical. His opinions held significant weight during his time, contributing to the book's non-canonical status. 2. Councils of Carthage, 397 AD, and Hippo, 393 AD. These church councils in North Africa played a crucial role in finalizing the New Testament canon for the Latin Vulgate Bible. During these councils, church leaders and theologians decided which books should be considered part of the Christian Bible. The Book of Enoch was not included in their canonical lists, reaffirming its non-canonical status. 3. Early Christian tradition. The gradual shift from considering the Book of Enoch as canonical can also be attributed to a change in theological emphasis and the recognition of books with apostolic authorship. As the Christian church grew and developed its theology, a higher value was placed on texts believed to have been authored by the apostles or those closely associated with them. The combination of theological concerns, as expressed by figures like Saint Jerome, and the formal decisions made at the councils of Carthage and Hippo in the late 4th century solidified the exclusion of the Book of Enoch from the Christian Bible as it is recognized by most Christian denominations today. However, it's important to note that the Book of Enoch remains part of the biblical canon in certain Christian traditions, such as the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, where it holds a unique status. Remember to subscribe to our channel if you found this content valuable. We'll see you in the next one.